If you're watching this video, it's because you're awesome, and you're about to learn something that makes you even more awesome.
Okay, welcome back to Saneauto. And this video we're going to be showing you what we can do with the blasting cabinet to add value to your parts and recondition parts, that sort of thing. There will be I don't have the light on or anything right now. There's a light. Let's see, wipe it. But anyhow, there will be a link in the description to this blasting cabinet. As you can see, inside there, lots of space. Now the extra little screen, I added that, but this chicken wire looking screen right here comes with it. But I added this little extra screen right here because I like it to catch these particles right here so they don't go back in my blasting media. And I can just clean that out every once in a while. I also like to keep a knife in here for scraping things without having to take stuff in and out of the cabinet all the time. You'll want to always keep at least a pair of pliers in there to hold things with, because if you're just holding them with your fingers on these gloves, then you'll be blasting too close to the fingers of the gloves, and you can see how these gloves still look really good shape. It's because I've been using pliers to hold stuff instead of using the fingers of the gloves to hold stuff. So I'm blasting the pliers while I'm holding, not blasting the fingers. So I've also added a fan to the back of the machine, which I robbed from another piece of equipment. It's a squirrel cage fan. I just added it to the back of the machine because the machine already has a vent hole, but this makes it vent so much faster. It's a lot easier to see in there. Now these are some of the parts. We're showing a before of the parts. And you see the really bad blemish right here. Some surface rust right here on this part. And that's really the only bad spot about this part. So we want to be able, this is about a $40, $50 part. We want to be able to rescue that. We've got some little parts here. They're like $5, $10 a piece. They're servo piston, another piston. And then because the machine is big enough, we can even put cases in there. And when it has a little bit of surface rust right here in the back, because it was exposed to some weather for a short period of time, and it doesn't take long to get some surface rust on there. And let me show you that this will fit in the cabinet, because you're going to see the after when I get them out of there. It goes right in there, no problem. No problem sticking a whole case in here. You can even put bell housings in here. So I'm not going to do that one first. I'll do some of the smaller stuff first. So set this aside. Big Ford tail housing. These go for about $69, $79. And well, they only bring 35, 40 bucks if they're in this condition. But once I've run it through the blasting cabinet, it'll bring $69, $79, and it'll sell faster at that price, all cleaned up, than it would have if I just try to sell it like that. You see, this one's got a bunch of charred transmission fluid on it, and that is almost impossible to get off. You see, these other good used ones don't have as much, but what we're going to do is we'll set these on a piece of glass to make sure they're nice and flat and they're not bowed. If they pass that test, then they go in the blaster and they'll come out looking like brand new. We'll show you those in a minute. We'll pause and I'll blast all this stuff, and then I'll show you this stuff. We need to come here to the light a little bit better so you can see these two parts really good. Can you see them okay on there?
No.
How about now?
Yeah.
Okay, see all that surface rust on there? That is not sellable like that. And these are $70 or $80 a piece because they go to the older C6s. And look down in there. That would be really hard to clean out by hand. Now this, you could put it on a lathe and run some sandpaper across there. But it won't look as good, and it'll take more material off doing it that way. Doing the media blaster, it'll take less material off, and it'll take that rust right off of there. Now, of course, you're seeing on on YouTube a lot of videos about doing like the electrolysis, rust removal and stuff like that. I don't think this is a good idea for these parts like this, because you have all these feed holes and stuff, and you don't want to put that down in the water with chemicals and do the electrolysis and bring that out, because the moment you pull it out of that electrolysis, it's wet and it can start rusting right away again. When you do the blasting and stuff, it comes out of there very dry and is not likely to start rusting again. I've got parts sitting on the shelf that's been sitting there for several months, some that's been sitting there over a year that I've media blasted, and they are not getting any surface rust on them. And I haven't had to put any kind of oil and stuff on them. Other parts I've dipped in oil anyway after media blasting, just to be sure. But some I just left dry just to be sure. Okay, a couple other parts that are great for blasting. Linkages. These old mid-60s linkages. Can you see those? Mm-hmm. And because you get way down in these spots and spaces with the media blaster. And you can see I've got several more of them in there. And more servo covers, those kind of things. And even, you know, like some of these parts are steel, some are aluminum, some are cast iron. It doesn't matter with the media blaster. It'll take care of all of them. So, we're gonna pause the camera a minute and I'm gonna get busy blasting some of this stuff. She may unpause for a little bit.
Well, there's Victor. He's got his hands in the machine, you can see there. And I'm gonna look up here, but you really can't see much down in there. Not with the camera, but you can see he's holding it there. And he's got the thing, he's blasted it away. But you really can't see that good down in there with the camera. So we're gonna show you after they get done. There he is. We're gonna show you some new parts.
Okay, of course this right here is the steels. This is before. You can see there's still a bunch of charred transmission fluid on them. And these are the after blasting. And then you can see one of the other parts, the pistons. And here's the other piston.
Yep.
Okay, these two pieces are worth about $150 for the both of them. A little over $70 a piece. These aren't worth a lot. These linkage pieces are worth about $50 a piece. And there's about 10 pieces there. There's about $500 worth of linkages right there. Another $50 for this drum. These are worth about $5 a piece, which, you know, you got a handful of $5 bills, you got a $100 bill. You got a handful of $100 bills, you got 1,000. And you got about $70 for that. Ford tail housing. This Jatco case here, around 100, 150 bucks. And of course we got the other Jatco case in there. And look at how nice it turned out. Right here, remember it had that surface rust on it? So now all these parts are actually sellable and they're actually valuable. Plus we got a whole another box full of, the rest of them are in the blaster right now, but they're done. That'll be full. All those will be about $5 a piece. So we're going to be looking about $1,000 worth of parts here for a couple of hours of running the blaster. So if you're already dirty from doing lawn care or working on a car or something like that, you've got a blasting machine like this over here, then you can take a bunch of junk that's worthless and not sellable and recondition it and make it worth, make $1,000 in a couple hours. got a few other parts up here that we could do, but we're not going to do all this today because, you know, $1,000 worth of work in a couple hours, and it's a Saturday, so we're going to go have some dinner and have some fun. Until the next video.
Does your co-host get a huggy after you get cleaned up?
She want to hug you before I get cleaned?
No.
You want to say goodbye to the viewers?
Bye. There's Cutie Pie eating his chips. Hi. You're adorable.
Remember, folks, if you don't like being burnt, bruised, and bleeding, the only safe way to do your repairs is just pay somebody else to do it. Welcome to Saneauto. We're so glad you're here. We don't just do repairs and tool reviews.
Bienvenida a Saneauto. Nosotros no solamente hacemos reparaciones de autos.
We also film hot rods and mod rods, project cars, classic cars, antiques.
Nosotros también filmea autos antiguos, mod rods, hot rods, cualquiera.
We also like to take you with us to the car shows and the cruise-ins, so make sure you subscribe and hit that little bell so you don't miss anything.
Me gustaría llevarte con nosotros a los cruise-ins y car shows. Entonces, empuja ese botón y toca de campaña para que no pierda nada.
Thank you for watching our videos. Many of the events, shows, and people that we feature support much needed charities.
Bastante de eventos que nosotros filmea soporta caridad.
Please take a child or a friend to one of these events and make sure that they're aware of all the good works that the great people of the car community do.
Por favor, lleva un niño o un amigo a los eventos para que sepa de buenos trabajos que hacen los coordinadores de evento. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego.